Katie Giardi. I'm in Hilton Head, South Carolina, and I've had a studio, Core Pilates. We are almost 14 years old,
Wow.
and yeah, we've got some good people. I'm pretty partial to the people that we share our day with here, and we've got about
Mm.
11, 12 part-time to full-time trainers, and just clients that we adore, and hugs coming in and out of the door when we're allowed to, all that kind of stuff like that. So it's great.
Yes. Nice. That's a long time.
Yeah. Um,
I'm sure there's times when it's felt longer than others.
um, we have done 3 studio renovations. So we just moved into our most recent location. And
Okay.
all 3 of those times it did feel a little long, but exciting because it was going to open the door to new people, and it was going to be a new space for us to enjoy and love. But yeah,
Yeah.
that gets a
It's
little.
it's too funny. Ashley just stumbled across our chat. How's it going, Ashley?
Oh,
It's so funny. Like I get this vibe from you, like me, where like you could spin everything to the positive, and I'm trying my hardest to not get you to spin something to the negative just for sport, like just to see if it can be done.
you nailed it. Yeah. I got
Yes.
rose-colored glasses, that's for sure.
How's it going? I mean, we can still call stuff. I mean, like it's interesting just like on that point where I do spin things to the positive a lot. Um, but that doesn't mean that I can't deal with something being negative. I just don't take it as a threat, right? Like, I mean, there's things where I disagree. Like, we see a lot of stuff that's happening in our industry right now. I could disagree with someone's method, but actually like the person.
Mhm.
Or I could disagree with an approach and say that, that is fundamentally wrong, but still have a conversation with the person. And yeah, I can talk a little bit more about that on a personal level, but like that's like I see how like I can still be rose colored glasses with things, but
Yes.
still be standing against something at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. So a quick personal story. When I was in high school, my dad said, he said, when you meet new people, if you can, make a little game of it. Try to get some sort of learning experience in 6 questions or less. And I have
Okay.
always tried that. And same
Mhm.
kind of thing, because sometimes those 6 questions are going to lead the conversation somewhere where I don't know anything about, and I might
Yep.
not agree with maybe some of their not beliefs, but some of their conversational topics and stuff like that. But I'm going to
Right.
still listen, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to ask questions because that's
Sure.
a person, and I want to know that person, and I want to try to stand beside them and
Yes.
get to go through life.
Right. Well, and you can just let's use like a really, really tame example. Let's say you're having a conversation with someone, you find out they're a big time gambler, and I don't gamble, I still would ask questions and learn more about what fascinates them about gambling. Like, what's the thing like, why do you love scratch tickets so much? Like, why does that, like, I'm thinking on my wife for a second.
Yeah.
Why do you have to buy a scratch ticket every time you go to the gas station or a dollar? You know what I mean? Like, that sort of thing. It's like, okay, well, that's good. That's really fascinating that's what's does it for you, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
We had well, I do spin things in the positive, but we just lost one of our trainers. He was had a very courageous battle with cancer, and talk about a
Mhm.
real man who does Pilates. He was a hunter and shotgun and all this stuff like that. And I have a very big fear around guns. But
Mhm.
he had a very, very big fear around Pilates when he walked in the first time. And so
Uh,
over the course of a couple of sessions, I learned so much on the strategy of what it takes to go into the woods and do what he does, and stay safe while he's doing it. And then he in turn got certified to teach Pilates, because he
really
realized how safe it was and what a really cool fitness avenue. And I'm just,
interesting.
isn't that cool?
So cool.
Yeah. He what a great guy. Just a couple days ago, lost his battle with cancer, but
Oh,
just
wow.
um, learned a lot from him over the years for sure. So, um, but on that note,
Yes.
you nailed it. Took my
You
positive,
you
but
you you
I took you
still
on
completely spun that to the positive with such courage
the
and love and celebration of your community.
Thank
Like
you.
that's for real. That's really good. Hi, Joel. Juan, I see some of our friends rolling in as well.
Mhm.
Um, 14 years. There's so many people that watch this and are different points in their kind of Pilates lifespan, right? And some just graduated from some kind of training course, and some people are like me who are kind of more consulting and subcontractor based. And now I've been 2 years in the studio, but I really, my heart is being out there as opposed to being in bricks and mortar.
Mhm.
What drew you to bricks and mortar? Like, and would you, if someone came up to you and said, I want to build a studio, would you be like, run for the hills? Or would you be like, no, actually, I can help you. This is, you want to do it?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. No, I would encourage them to do it. I'm part of Pure Body Teacher Training. I'm a faculty member for them, and so
Nice.
I've just started this new group of students, and they're the stars in their eyes, and they're looking at how far along they could take this someday. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I like the brick and mortar. I like the energy of the people within the walls. That's kind of how I
Yes.
thrive when they're
Mm-hmm.
together and the trainers are across the studio from each other. And I really like that the opportunity to be the atmosphere. Like when you walk in the
Yes.
door, I'm going to be there with a smile on my face. I'm not hiding up in my office. I'm there
Yes.
to say hello. And it's not fun to clean the bathrooms. It's not fun to stay on top of, some of the things that are a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very blessed. I have my entire extended family local. So every
Mm-hmm.
time it gets kind of tough and I got to roll up my sleeves and maybe I do have to clean the bathrooms and we got to fix the air conditioning unit. They're all here. My family's all here to help me. And that makes it
Great.
very manageable to get through some of that stuff.
Well, that's your extended community. That's your family, and I'm sure that's probably one of the main reasons why you're still alive, right? Like, there's
Yeah,
no way it could be a one person show, and
no,
yeah.
absolutely. Um, that I actually have a hard time putting just myself out in the bigger picture because I want all my people, I want all of them
Mm,
to be featured as much as possible. My trainers are phenomenal. I have to kind of give them a little shout out because when we closed our brick and mortar and we made that jump to virtual when everybody did, we maintained almost an 80-85% attendance rate, and that's because our trainers were connecting
wow.
with people. They were
Yes.
connecting with them, and that was really magical. That was pretty cool to watch. So
Well, I could see. Was it with Nicole? We were talking about just true leadership is duplicating yourself in others. That's true leadership. So just from what you said right there, I can imagine that your staff are people who love people. They're not just like Pilates nerds who are just all over the exercises, but they actually love and connect with people. If that's something that's flowing from you to them, if that's true leadership.
I would say that's very true about all of us, and any of my people could step into the leadership role. In all honesty, they could trickle from the top. It's just such a beautiful way that they conduct themselves and connect with clients and help their movement patterns walk out the
Right.
door. Um, you know that's what I'm the most proud of is when I see a student of ours out in the grocery store and they're walking with their posture and like that's marketing to me is the woman who is in the grocery store picking out
Yes.
bananas with this Pilates aura and
Right.
that's more valuable than um, an email or a fancy photo or anything like that in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you talk about that client? You just your new client that just left you glowing?
Oh, that's so fun. I love new clients. And so I do that same thing. I try to ask them about 6 questions within the first session so that we've got some sort of connection. And she came in yesterday and she just kept listing, oh, I saw so and so at the mailbox and I went to dinner with this other friend and I just can't stop talking about it. I just absolutely love Pilates. And she had a lot of fear about coming in the studio. She said she drove by our place for 6 weeks before she even decided to make the phone call. And then she made the phone call and then she said, oh, and then I was just in a tizzy that first morning. I didn't even want to come. I thought it was going to be hard. And she said, I'm so glad I did. And I just cannot stop talking about it right now. And I mean, my heart just bursts. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so let's break that down. So when she called, how did that call go? Is it just like, okay, well, let's get you in for your first session, or is it like, did she kind of take a while between that first call and the day she got in? Like,
Um,
really break this down because you have a raving fan after like, such a short time.
so, the phone call was, we have a phenomenal front desk. We have two people, Jamal Edwards and then McLean. Dupree are our client specialists. And,
Okay,
during that phone call, the warmth and the questions that are asked, and, what time of day would you prefer to come? What, any other questions, we just are as clear as we can from the very beginning. Then that call gets transferred then to another personal moment, usually with me and the client. So I'll call them back again, and then they'll directly schedule with me. So then there's another touch point before they
touch
walk in
point.
the door that time.
Yes.
Um, and then, when they walk in, I'm standing there and I've got this huge grin on my face because I'm very passionate about sharing Pilates with people, whether they've been doing it for 20 years or 2 minutes. So
Right.
that was that.
That's it. And it's like, for those who just jumped in, we just started with just this fun chat about just loving people, full stop. And I really sound like, Katie, you could be selling, you know, houses and you'd have that same energy because of who you are that you bring to that people will be excited about buying houses from you, sort of thing, right? So the marketing piece, we spend so much time talking about social media and Google ads and all these different things. And how do we keep people connected with Pilates? And how do we get them excited about it? And how do we get them back into our studios and all those different strategies? What would you say? Like, what is your answer to those questions when it comes to the marketing piece?
Um, it's a connection. It is from the moment they walk in the door, trying to take care of them, trying to listen to them, trying to encourage them. And then at the end of the session, okay, great, you feel good. Oh, I can't wait to see you next time. And then if they have to cancel last minute, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss you so much. But we'll catch up. It's okay. You've got
Yes.
a boundary and you've got a busy day and Pilates isn't going to work.
Mhm.
We do. So my first studio location was in this building up on the third floor where nobody could see us. I mean, people would walk in and go, where, what? I don't even know where I am. I've never seen this building. I didn't know there was a third story. And at the time, my business partner she had a huge advertising firm. And she was so good at, our logo and our emails and our this and that. And so I did have that beautiful little foundation of some
Yes.
marketing pieces 14 years ago.
Mhm.
But I remember she was so blown away because she was a newer Pilates instructor. And she did advertising. She said, but this is a word of mouth destination business.
Yes.
They are going to talk to somebody at a dinner party and that person's going to give them directions to walk upstairs and come find
Mhm.
it. And I just have always thought
Yes.
that is, if they really want it and if they really like it, they're going to find us because we're a destination. And once
I
they get
love
there,
that.
you got to stay connected in person. So,
So that word of mouth destination is powerful for me because my whole business is on my phone. It is social media, it is LinkedIn. I spend so much time there. But if I was to spend as much time on that word of mouth destination piece and zeroed in on that, I could ghost everyone on social media and be just fine financially.
um, it works for us. I mean,
That's the challenge, right? Like I'm not going to do that, but like I'm just saying that is in theory that is possible.
um, it did. It has worked for us. We are a word of mouth marketing studio. And even to this day, every month I have that little imposter moment where I'm like, oh, I should do this, that, and the other on social media. And then I go, okay, hold on. It's more important that I connect with this person right now in this moment in the studio because she's going to be a 30 pack and she's going to be a 50 pack. And 14 years, you know what I love so much? My Monday morning at 10 a.m., same client, 14 years. That's cool. So,
That is cool. That
um,
is so much cooler than a like Instagram post.
I, I mean, she threw me a baby shower and she has been a part of our family events and all that kind of stuff like that because,
Yeah,
we know how to keep the boundary in the studio and work out and do what we need to do. But at the same time, we can extend that friendship and
right.
stay. So,
My 5:30 client this morning, I trained her before her, like up to the day after the birth of her child, 15 years ago,
that's me.
right? So like that's like we're still going with different goals and different tasks and stuff like, and we walk with people through every life stage as they enjoy our life stages,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah, I love that. What's
yeah.
your favorite way? What's your favorite way to connect in your, like, in person with them? What's your,
Um, well, I love working with men. I love introducing men to movement, the Pilates piece of movement, because like they're on the gym floor or they played soccer when they were kids, whatever. So I'd like challenging men to try this, to get the courage to try it and
yeah,
to get them to just try it once and to see how they tell everyone about it. So and so that's the one piece for me is just like get guys feeling it in their posture and their performance, all those different things. So I think that for the most part I'm most excited about the men who come in who stick with it
yeah, I love
you
that.
know
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
think people are always going to come at the same time, right? Like they'll look up Pilates in the area and they'll find me, and that's great. And I'm like, really excited about that. But I chase after guys
I love it.
to get them into the studio. You know what I mean? Like that's where I spend my energy, word of mouth, and just that's where I will spend all of my energy because I love, one of my the newer guys that I have right now. He's walking out and he's like, "Have you tried this Pilates yet? That was just amazing. Have you done this yet? Yeah. Have you?" He's like pointing to people on his way out to say like, "You need to go in there next. I know he's got somebody, but go talk to him on." So
Yeah, that's the best. I love that so much. That's so cool. Yeah,
Joel's just saying, just realize you're not too far from me. I need to plan a vacation to Hilton Head and stop in for a visit.
absolutely. Would love to have you. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
Hilton Head's a special place. I will say that it does attract our little area attracts a lot of people that they've gotten to the point in their life where they retire and we have a beach and we've got beautiful homes and that part of their life is this we're the next stop. And then once they have a freer calendar, Pilates is a good thing to add in the mix 2 or 3 days a week. So we're very lucky with our
absolutely.
demographic here as well. So
Yes.
yeah.
Wow, don't sleep on this savvy businesswoman. Not just smiles and loving. It's like, I know my market. I know my people.
Mm, yeah.
Yes.
So, um, I love that you are, connecting with the men because another one of my favorite stories is one of my really longtime clients. Again, I think she was like, I don't know, maybe 14 years, but like week 3 after we opened or something. And she bought her husband a gift certificate to Pilates for Christmas one year. And he was so stubborn that he had to come in and try it. And now he's hooked, and it's just,
Yeah.
you don't even, it doesn't have to be that fancy picture, maybe
Mhm.
necessarily of, because he wasn't that picture. He wasn't that
Right.
picture, a plank on the reformer, but he came in,
Right.
he tried it and he loved it. And it's fun. And I try to remind them that it was a man. It was a very big part of our Pilates choreography and exercises.
Yeah.
Kind of important.
Absolutely. And there's another side to that too. And this is like, hear this, but not like, I have a social work background. I have a counseling background, but I don't want you to hear this like I'm a counselor and I understand human humans in this way. There's so many men that come in that recognize that this is a safe place to talk about raising kids, managing their business, managing their family, balancing out time with their wife, balancing out time for themselves, their own mental health. You know what I mean? Like it just becomes this safe place for a guy to just be like, okay, there's really no one else I can talk to about with this besides my wife.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know what I mean?
that's so true. Also, Yes.
So I'm not putting on my counselor hat. I'm just talking about how I'm raising my boy while he's raising his boy, who happens to be the same age and happens to be playing a high level sport and happens to have, 5 nights a week that you're on the ice or at a court, and then you still want to get a workout in. You're tired from work and you have not gone on a date with your wife in 6 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to clear the air and just to let that mental stuff be aware of it. And then, in the meantime, the movement, helping that filter out through the mental and physical connection of the body. I think that's amazing.
I think
Um,
it is.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and I think that's my other really big just kind of message is yes, we are a safe place. It doesn't matter how old, how young. My grandmother who lives here, she's almost 89 next month, and she's like, "Can I come every day?" I'm like, "Sure, I'd love for you to come every day." But that safety that is present so
Mhm.
that you can move and you can get your body feeling closer to what you want it to be, either
Yes.
visually or internally. I think
Mhm.
that's magic. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, there's so much magic in there. Even just the magic of being distracted by movement from the other stuff that's happening in your world.
Yeah. Yes, you can leave it at the door when you
And
walk
leave
in.
it at the door.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's so cool. How old are your kids again?
Whew. Okay, so I have a 19 and a 15-year-old, two boys. I have a stepdaughter who's 17 and a stepson who is 14.
Wow. They all end
Yes.
18. That's amazing.
I know it. Yes.
Very cool. I have a
Yes.
10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son, and I love that this is a safe place for them too. They've been in and out of the studio as they've grown up a lot, and yeah, it's always a safe place to come in and move, and whatever's going on in their day, they can leave it at the door, and then we can do a little bit of movement.
Yeah, for sure. They must be great movers. They're gonna be good athletes when they're older. What a foundation.
I
Crazy.
well, I have a ballerina and a soccer player, so it's fun to
Yeah,
watch. Yeah.
they're gonna be good.
Yes. And Nutcracker, our Nutcracker starts. That's the other part of my life is I lead Pilates and then I go to the ballet studio, and we've got just a few days till that opens up, which is exciting. So
So, what's your role in that?
I am the ballet mistress for the Hilton Head Dance Theater. So I'm at rehearsals. I'm making tiaras and costumes and teaching little ballerinas, the babies, which is kind of fun. So, and then I don't have any counseling background, but sometimes our teenage dancers need a little mental pep talk. So I show up backstage and pat their back and give them a sip of water and tell them you got this. And the stage is a safe place.
Yes.
I love this about same thing in the Pilates studio, but on a stage as a dancer. Your life is choreographed out there. You know exactly who's going to be
Hmm.
walking in front of you in the waltz of the flowers at this time, and you know exactly how many steps it takes to get from the here to there. But you know that real world outside the door of the Pilates studio or outside of the dance studio is not choreographed. It's a little scary to navigate sometimes. So.
Yes. That's a serious analogy. I think that's why I look forward to work on Monday morning sometimes after a weekend.
Yeah, because it's choreographed. You know what you can handle, and how to move through it. I agree. That's why I love Pilates. Pilates is so much choreography that you can just move in and out of, and you can adapt accordingly, and you know how how to take it and put it on this client, and then the next hour change the choreography and put it on this client. It's fun.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, how did you find Pilates initially?
Oh, through ballet. I was 15 and I had a very small dance injury, and my dance teacher said, I've heard about Pilates. I think you should just go try it. And I walked into a studio locally. It was a one-on-one studio, and I think she had me doing footwork, right, the first thing. And this smile came over my face, and the teacher was,
Yes.
I think you have found something that you really like. Um,
Yes.
The rest is history. Just went from there. So
Do you feel like you're trying to create that moment for everyone that walks in the door?
kind of,
You
yes.
think?
I
Right.
think I am. Yes, for sure. It's
Yes.
footwork
Yes.
does cause a lot of smiling usually. Footwork feels pretty good.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, it's so funny. I asked that question and I legit set that up almost every conversation because there's always this connection between your first experience, whether it's positive or negative, and how you present it to
Hmm.
every person after that, right?
True.
So if someone had a negative experience, they come in and you're like, I'm going to make sure this person has a positive experience. If you had an awesome experience, you're like, I'm going to make sure this person has an awesome experience, right? So it's so funny how for me, my first time doing Pilates, I did this Pilates for I don't remember my first time, but it's one of the times that really impacted me. A Pilates for athletes class that a friend of mine was doing. And coming out of football and being a personal trainer, I thought I could just waltz in and just crush this workout. And the workout owned me, absolutely owned me. It beat me up. It left me puzzled as to why one side of my body doesn't work the same as the other. And it made me really think about how my body moves and how I need to make it more efficient so I could dominate it like this just dominated me today. And I think that's what I bring to every man who comes in, just that sense of, wow, there's so much more to learn about my body. And Pilates is where I can get it.
Yes. And I love the word wow. That is Pilates. Those two words should always go together. That is.
Yes.
Oh, I love that
Mm.
story. That's awesome.
I don't think I've ever said it that way before, but like what you just said just made it make sense in my head. So thanks for the counseling session. I'm just like, I'm gonna change all my branding and stuff now because that's like that's exactly it.
I
That is
love
it.
that. That's awesome. Connections, right? Connections to ourselves and connections to other people. Very cool. Oh,
So cool.
yeah. I have one more question for you that
Yes.
before it leaves my brain. What are you most looking forward to about Brink? Because I love all of those people so much. And I unfortunately not gonna be able to experience it this week, but I know it's a
Mhm.
big part of you and all of that kind of stuff.
Um, I look forward to the thing that's going to happen that isn't part of the script.
Mm,
The script is really, really good, but there's always something that you take away when there's a breakout session or there's a takeaway when you do the networking piece or something happens that's off script where you meet someone or you become friends with someone or you realize that something that you said in your talk is exactly where someone else is and they reach out to you and now you're like best buddies and you're working on collaborations together and then they circle back and say, well, we met at Brink in December. And it's like, I thought you guys know each other for like 15 years. So like, no, we're actually that close now because we were that connected and we just didn't realize it until that moment happened. So fun things like that, or like between you and I and everyone's watching, I think that my last talk wasn't the greatest at Brink. I felt like it was just slightly off and I had some problems with the tech at the beginning and I don't feel like it landed properly and I was like wasn't super happy with it. And then we did the breakout and someone said that I said something that wasn't part of my thing about being focused, not busy. And they're like, that spoke to me. And we had this whole talk about being using the word saying like, I'm really focused on this right now, so I can't commit to that instead of saying, sorry, I'm busy, and that perception of being like all over the place. And that was not what I wrote down. I kind of just said it as I was like floundering through my message, and that hit home.
that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
The non choreographed stuff can make even more of a impact sometimes. I think that's pretty neat.
Yes, exactly. So I lean into that. I embrace that. I'm not expected to be perfect, but I'm looking forward for those moments where it's just like, okay, this is exactly what happened, needed to happen. I'm in the right place at the right time, and that landed the way it needed to for the person that was there. I could
Magic.
live with that. Yeah, yeah, I could live with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read Jules' comment here. I really love how you said your clients have a Pilates aura, not a Pilates body, but a
Mhm.
Pilates aura. I was searching for words and you nailed it. Thank you. Yes.
That is amazing. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. No words after that. Pilates aura.
Yes.
It's where it's at. Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Feel free to ask me more questions. I love your
Well,
your
I love Jenna so much.
Mhm.
So Jenna's dad is one of our studio people here. Her
Oh,
parents live
really?
here. Yes, and I adore him as well. So I'm sorry I won't be able to join coming up soon, but you know, time management. I can't be everywhere. Like you said, you got to try to be where you can and land
Yes.
the right way as much as possible. So very cool.
Mhm.
So you've had the studio for 2 years, you said, with being
Um,
in Mortar?
well, actually, no, it's not even been in 2 years. Just over a year. It's like July of last year. So it's kind of a COVID baby in that sense. I've been doing personal training here for a few years and been teaching Pilates actually in this room with one reformer for a couple of years as well. And then during COVID, when everything shut down, we moved into the other studio and made that like a devoted studio.
Oh, cool.
And now we just moved back into a bigger space once again. So full circle in this dedicated space and sorry, in this shared space now where I want to turn it into almost like a open gym format where I can do my Pilates, but then people can come in who have been practicing for a long time and follow like Amit Younger's playbook for
Yeah.
like 75 minutes and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
yeah, so just
Okay.
look.
I have another question. What's your
Yeah,
favorite Jamie White exercise or cue? What did Jamie White deliver? I love her too.
she's man. You know what's funny? I'd have to say it's some of the work for shoulder mobility. She gave me
Mm,
all these like movement prep exercises that aren't even Pilates movements that I had to work on for like easily 2 weeks to be able to get, right? So it's like, okay, we'll just work on that on your own and we'll move on to the next exercise. I'm like, God.
I had the same moment with her one time. I was like, "Ooh, I need to do this a little bit more in my head," but she was so
Yes,
graceful and was just like, "Well, we'll get back to that at another time. That'll be fine." So that's great. Love Jamie. She's
yes.
the best.
Yeah, and I think that that's when you can read people to know that like that's not a discouraging moment for me. That's a like challenge accepted moment for me. Whereas
Absolutely.
for another client, that might be you didn't give them enough successes that day and they're discouraged and you never see them again.
That's 100% true. 100% true. Um, the my ballerinas who come in and do Pilates with us is they have that perfectionism, and
Mhm.
I really have to watch my words with them. Is okay, right? This was amazing that you just did in the Pilates studio. You are still 100% perfect, and you are going to walk out the door perfect, and you're also 14. But if you could just seriously think about your ankle stability, this way whatsoever. So you
Yes.
have to be careful with your words when you're connecting with people for sure.
Yeah.
Thoughtful with your words.
Thoughtful. Right. That reminds me of my client who would say to himself, better, but not good.
Oh,
And at first I had to my knee-jerk reaction, like it was a 14-year-old girl, was to save him from that and then realize that no, this is how he speaks to himself.
mhm.
Let's let him lean into that and get better. And sure enough, he did over the course of weeks and months. But like when so, oh, it's not that it's bad, it's just that like it's like I'll just leave that out there and we'll move on.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Very true. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Words are. I think that is. That's the biggest kind of change that I'm starting to feel in the Pilates industry is just thoughtful words around all the choreography, which I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be the beginner teachers. I'm seeing them kind of stop and think about whatever language that they're going to say could hopefully lead to more successes instead of more negative experiences in the studio. I don't know if that's
Yes.
within my little bubble, but that's what I'm seeing on the floor.
Mhm.
It was very thoughtful word choices, and that makes me very happy.
Absolutely. And well, your bubble matters, right? Like that's the bubble that go like you can't control the world, but you're doing such a good job with your circle and that goes out. So yeah, I think so. finding your words and economy of words, all that good stuff is so key. And I think that we can get lazy and get comfortable with what we last learned and not look at it like, okay, every person might need something different. So how do I creatively connect with this person?
Yes.
Right? Use those words, use that framework as your launch pad into what the person in front of you needs. Maybe you
Hmm.
keep it the same, maybe you change it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. That's
Mm,
going to be exciting to watch. Hopefully, fill
absolutely.
the different parts of the world. So,
Mm.
so
My question for you now is like, with your studio, do you have like anything in terms of online presence anymore now that you back into space and like conferences, workshops, like what kind of stuff do you have going on program wise in your studio?
well, we're Pure Body Teacher Training is back
Yes.
in person, and that's happening in the studio. Our private sessions and small groups are happening in the studio. Our group MAC classes are going to stay virtual for the indefinite future
Nice.
because all the people joining us are not local. So
Mm,
I'll teach, my group MAC class, and I'll have 12 people, and they're all over the country. And I, in my
fabulous.
wildest dreams 14 years ago, would have never, ever thought that that was a way to stay connected with everybody, because we have a lot of snowbirds that come to Hilton Head. They're here for 3 months and then they go back up,
Right.
wherever. Um, so we would not see them, and I remember making a joke like, you keep your Pilates brain just turned on a little bit while I don't see you for these next 6 months, and
Right.
when you come back, we're just going to start wherever you are, and that's totally fine. But now it's really cool to stay connected with them virtually. And
Yes.
as far as conferences go, I would love to go to Momentum Fest. I think that
Hmm.
is a fun place I would like to kind of put on my bucket list sooner rather than later. And then as traveling internationally opens back up again, we have done Pilates retreats. We have gone to
Okay.
Italy and
Yes.
Iceland and Spain as a little Pilates group. And
Amazing.
our little people, we go there and we explore and we learn about the culture and we eat food and we do Pilates and we hike and we laugh and have the best time together. So I'm really looking forward to creating a couple more of those programs with some Pilates retreats.
Yes.
Not necessarily for just our clients, because we've had people from all over the country join us on those trips, but
Yes.
I don't know. We're looking at France or the state of Washington. I know those are two different places, but
Slightly different, but yeah.
it's different. Yeah.
Right. But that's oh yeah, that's great. I mean, those sound much like my colleague here who runs the studio. Like he loves those community events, right? That's not necessarily like let's just build in your community ultimately, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's taking our community into a different culture, and
Mhm.
taking our community who's willing to learn and explore and eat new foods. We didn't go to Spain and have cheeseburgers, right? We went to Spain and
Right.
had all sorts of really amazing food and all that stuff like that. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And you build memories together. Like that's talk about like mastering like a marketing plan. It's like how about just like turn everybody into a friend? They will not leave you.
Yeah, you kind of hold and hug them in nice and tight. Yeah.
There you
Uh,
go.
that probably is our marketing plan in a nutshell.
Yes. Man, this is so good. I think there's a few more comments that came through. I just want to just touch on some. So Lisa was saying, "I love your client. I love your client will find you even if you're on the if you're not on the ground floor." We were talking about that earlier. It's so true. And then the focus not busy. Yes, that's yeah. That landed. That really
Very
did
cool.
land with people.
Yeah, I love that. I
I
didn't even read the comments. I'm sorry for all
no,
of.
it's okay.
I was so excited connecting with you. So
Right. Well, I love the fact that I didn't ask my first question until like 37 minutes in about like how you found Pilates. Like that's when I know that it's just like this, we're just flowing with the conversation where I don't have to like rattle off questions. It just goes. And thank you for asking me questions. Thank you for just being yourself. I think that you're doing great work and I love highlighting people like you. Like 14 years doing this. It's not like you're a new person coming out with like a new idea to get you're doing it. Like
well, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to smile and giggle and talk about Pilates. It's fun.
My pleasure. Yes. So we got Brink coming up. I was asking everyone if you had any like classes or workshops and stuff you want to put it in the chat, please do. I screenshotted Joel's piece about the Pilates aura. Like I'm definitely gonna run with that.
Yes.
Because I think that is so good. And Aiden O'Neill from Zurich. Hello. So cool.
It's, yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the time that you carved out of your day to spend with me. So,
I'm definitely cheering you on, and yeah, let me know what's going on. I'll repost all of your stuff, and I'll send you the link for this chat as well, so you can share it with your people.
that'd be great. Thank you. Maybe we have to do a Pilates retreat up there and visit you and bring our community up there to see you guys.
Yes, come to Toronto.
Oh, we like snow and cold. So,
The summer is actually nice. It's not snow all year round.
okay. Okay, good.
There you go. All right, Katie, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
All
Appreciate it.
right,
Have a good
thanks
one.
everyone. Thank you.